revenue year over year, 36%, a boost to somewhere around 75K. Less than 30 days, we were already getting high ranks across the board in everything we do. Our team at New Seas, they have it handled. It's clear. If you've never tried SEO, you need to immediately.
Nate, thanks for joining me today. Really appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and give a brief intro as to who you are and what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Nate Banks. I'm a third generation sock maker out of North Carolina. My family has been making socks in Western North Carolina for over 80 years. Over the past 12 years, e-commerce has been a driver and a focus of ours. Being that we are the factory, how we can go direct to consumer is super important to create a moat around us. And I am the vice president of the parent company with a focus on e-commerce, specifically within the company.
Sweet. So I know you obviously have a few brands. We've been working with Crazy Compression for the last 9 months since July. And Sock Factory recently, I think it's December. Been really fun working on both projects with you. Can you kind of just briefly describe the difference between Crazy Compression and Sock Factory?
Yeah, sure. So the Sock Factory is the parent company, and underneath the Sock Factory, we have a few divisions. One of those are a contract manufacturer. So basically, Kai, you could call us up and say, hey, look, I'm looking for a sock with my dog on it, and we can make 180 pair of those, ship it to you within 2 to 4 weeks. Or, we make for large global brands as well. So we'll take their designs and ship them all over the world. That's one division. The second division is government. And then the third division is actually our e-commerce efforts, which are our in-house brand that we own and operate. Crazy Compression is one of those brands. And it was kind of the first brand. We have 5. It was the first brand that took off.
Awesome. Thanks. Crazy Compression, like we said, we've been together 9 months. Can you just briefly share the numbers on kind of organic search revenue growth over the last 9 months?
First off, it's been an incredible 9 months, right? Because you're super technical and it's just been a pleasure, right, to work with you. I think as far as numbers go, we've seen growth for sure, seen more revenue. Those exact numbers are something like year over year, 36%, which adds a boost to somewhere around 75K year over year comparison.
So that's been the Crazy Compression, like standard D2C kind of stuff. And then the Sock Factory as well is custom made manufacturing. And so that's more like lead forms and kind of longer sales cycles as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely just a different business model. Like going back to that specific example about you calling us and needing, socks with your dog on. That is actually a big market, the custom business. Everything from individuals to businesses. It's a really important part of what the Sock Factory does well. So instead of creating 10,000 or 1 million pairs of white socks, we can actually go super custom. And being able to be found is critical in that business model. And that's why I reached out to you after we had already worked with Crazy Compression. It seemed like a good fit. And I think within 30 days or less than 30 days, we were already getting high ranks across the board in everything we do. So that part has been amazing. And on the back end, it can be tracked with not just leads, but orders. So if somebody comes in and they buy, 10,000 pairs of socks, generally they're funneled through the work that you've done.
Yeah, no, it's been cool. I think it's one of the more unique. We're traditionally working with like mostly D2C brands, but it's been really cool to work on like a different business model. I think especially, with international trade changes lately, having kind of the American-made, USA-made manufacturing, like owning that one spot is going to be huge over the next few weeks and months. So excited to see how that turns out for you guys.
Yeah, likewise.
Cool. So let's go back to Crazy Compression for a second. So I think when we first connected, you had done SEO a few different times. Is that right?
Yeah.
With like different agencies and freelancers. So like what changes did you see between working with previous agencies and freelancers versus working with us?
Yeah, without being too hard. I think at some sort of level that Crazy Compression found itself, there's a level of knowledge, expertise, and sophistication that goes into SEO. Also data-driven, results-driven, and then performance-driven, and how it all works and funnels together and works in alignment with social media advertising, Google advertising, and SEO. I think that would be a fair breakdown. One would be also the communication level. Very quick in response, obviously very knowledgeable, and at the end of the day, you say you do something and you do it. And that sounds silly, but in the past, I've had, I guess in the glory days before the security updates, it was so easy to make money. People just really didn't do a lot. It is what it is, but I think with you guys, it's been the complete opposite, which has been amazing.
Really appreciate that. The agency space is tricky, I think, but getting results, doing things the way you say you're going to do them, I think is, the best kind of course of action for any business model. So really happy it's worked out. So in terms of like everyone in SEO does things a little bit differently, I'd say, right? I think even we are a little bit, not necessarily like shoot from the hip type deal, but I know there are a few things that work exceptionally well, and there's a kind of a lot of other things that I would qualify as noise. It sounded like most of the stuff you guys had done in the past was more focused on like technical SEO and kind of blog content writing and stuff stuff like that. And our new strategy has been just primarily like just pumping out collection pages, arming them with internal links, supplementing it with tons of backlinks. Growth has been obviously good since then. Would you say that's a pretty fair kind of difference in strategies that we've taken comparatively to a previous provider?
Yeah, everything's about timing too. What used to work worked, but frankly, times change, technology changes, and you have to adapt to those changes. And I think that's just one core piece that you offer is a multi-approach strategy to the back end in collections, but really it's this like sophisticated level of strategy on how to be found, and not just broad, right? Not just, hey, here's your name, search it out, find it. It's like really going out there, trying to understand the industry and where we can fit and take advantage of certain examples.
Working with two brands now, potentially a bit more time commitment maybe than the average brand owner, working with, I guess, for two of your brands. So, but even so, how much time do you think you spend like on an average month thinking about / even doing any SEO related kind of items? Now we've been working together for 9 months.
SEO gets brought up daily, but I think about it for milliseconds because I say, yeah, Kai team and New Seas, they have it handled. It's clear. On to the next thing to figure out how to grow the business. So it's in good hands, I guess you could say. And I don't give it a lot of time, especially when it comes to strategy. I know what I don't know, and I know you got it handled. So
you say you think about it less now than you did prior to working with us?
100%.
We're 9 months in with Crazy Impression. We're 3 months in with Sock Factory. Where do you see both businesses in the next 6-12 months?
I see it growing, but more importantly, I see it as a balanced approach from every angle when it comes to paid and when it comes to organic. I think they go hand in hand. I'm really bullish, just particularly because we make stuff here in the United States, and I think the opportunities are going to be massive if we can adapt to those and grow, and then continuing to create new brands and bring those on with you guys. I'm very excited about the future.
Sweet. Anything that surprised you about the service, whether it was communications, the workflow, the speed, something else, like any surprises that you weren't expecting when we started together?
I don't know if there were surprises, but it was kind of like confirmation on how good you guys are. You quickly jumped in there, fixed what was deemed broken, came up with a new strategy. I mean, it was immediate. Yeah, I was surprised in that. And then once I saw that coupled with results, it's just like, what a good find.
I appreciate that. The whole SEO takes 6 to 12 months kind of stereotype is not really something we like to abide by. So I think getting in there quickly and making changes is the best course of action. If a brand was on the fence about working with an agency like ours, anything you might say to them based on your experience?
There's a lot of noise out there about what SEO future. First off, you have to do it, right? You have to have an organic strategy out there to help balance out everything else. And that's just a direct answer is depending on where you are with your company and where you've been, if you've never tried SEO, you need to immediately. And then if you have and had some bad experiences, and not all my experiences bad, but sure, you do need to work with somebody or a company that's at the tip of the spear and understands exactly where we are in kind of the technology and how it interfaces with the results in our performance, but more importantly too, where it's going to go and where the technology is going to take us. So yeah, you got to do it.
Yeah. And then any kind of final thoughts, questions, comments you'd like to share?
I think in today's world, you have to take advantage of every opportunity. And SEO and organic is one of those opportunities, obviously. I've been doing e-commerce for 12, 13 years. A lot of it was previous to the security update. And I think in today's world, the level of sophistication and the barrier of entry is so much at another level that you have to analyze and look at each sales channel or each channel, period, and really have experts in those channels that are working simultaneously with other teams in order to uplift the entire brand. So I think it's just super important that you bring on experts in fields if you want to have a successful brand or company.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I think barrier to entry is super high. Post 2019, things are definitely tricky to scale brands. SEO is obviously one component of it, one we chose to specialize in, but it's really cool to see it kind of all come together. Obviously, we work with your CRO team. We work with other brand CRO teams and their paid ads agencies, so it's cool to see it all connect. It's really cool to see brands like US-made brands like yours continue to grow. So really excited to be a part of it, and I want to thank you again for joining on today, and obviously looking forward to growth over the next few months.
Absolutely, man. Thank you.